Okay. Show me.
Alright, fellas, I'm ready to fight.
Oh my gosh!
That's not me! That's not Cockroach Tony Montana!
We want the black people on the motherfucking wall of fame now!
Is that what you want?
I want you to be a hockey player!
Alright, I'm not a fucking athlete. This is my fucking way. This is how I win.
You go in pieces, asshole.
The Where We Gems Movie Podcast, your home for the most underrated and underappreciated films. Hello and welcome to episode 3 of There Will Be Gems Movie Podcast. I'm Tyler, and I'm here as always with Ryan.
Hello.
Tom.
Hello.
John.
Baba Booey.
And we're here to bring you another steaming, shitty hot take on something you may or may not have heard of. How's everyone doing tonight?
I'm doing great.
Oh, just peachy.
Pretty good.
Yeah? What'd everyone do today?
I sold phones.
How'd that go?
I got a line.
Nice. Like a burner phone?
No, an actual phone. We're not Metro. We're the big boys.
That's not how it works, Tyler.
We're number 2 in the nation.
Number 2 in the nation. Why not number 1?
Because fuck Verizon.
Because Verizon.
Spent a lot of money on the table.
Verizon's still better for the time being.
For the time being.
Verizon don't got that 5G though.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't know why I like Verizon so much. I don't have a good reason.
Reliable, but
Except for their spokesman.
what their spokesman do?
Remember, he was a traitor. He used to be like, "Can you hear me now?" Good, and then he was like, "Fuck you guys! I work for Sprint now."
And now
Yeah, he
Sprint
totally
is
does.
Defunct.
Oh, that was a bad
Again?
move.
T-Mobile actually owns Sprint now.
Yeah, we bought it.
Oh, well, that wasn't the best move.
Actually, it was a very lucrative move.
No, I mean for like the guy to switch teams like that.
It absolutely was, because now he still has a job.
Now
What?
he
No,
gets to dress in pink.
Yeah.
I'm
Doesn't
sorry,
it?
magenta.
Could have been the
Magenta.
Verizon guy. Still.
Yeah, and Verizon's still number what?
Wham.
One.
Oh,
Oh, first? Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, we coming for them cheeks.
Swiggity swooty.
I mean, I don't really have any.
Cell phone booty.
Beat that Verizon booty.
I don't have a dog in this fight. I wish you the best.
The cards don't lie.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. All I did today was watch anime, and that was nice.
that's nice. Well, I'm coming around on the anime. I had 3 anime movies in my last Blu-ray buy, and I still haven't watched any of them. I would have never watched that like a year ago.
It's good stuff.
Good stuff. Yeah. What are you watching?
I just finished up 7 Deadly Sins season 4, and now I'm continuing JoJo Stardust
Yes.
Warriors.
Yes.
I've heard of 7 Deadly Sins, but definitely never heard of the other thing. I have no idea what 7 Deadly Sins is about outside of the obvious implications.
It's about angels and demons and a group called the 7 Deadly Sins.
All right. I like that religious stuff.
It's not really religion in it. It's more like there's got angels and demons and humans and fairies, giants, blah blah blah.
I see. Very, very classic anime.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Sounds like a bunch of malarkey.
It's definitely a bunch of malarkey, but I like the malarkey. It's good malarkey.
I don't know if I call that malarkey. Some of that tentacle stuff. That's what I'd call the malarkey.
That's hentai.
I mean, if you're a simp.
Simp.
Is everything with tentacles hentai? I thought that was just like.
Yeah, that's a hentai trope, not really an anime trope.
I've been told differently.
People who watch hentai.
Yeah, who told
Yeah.
you that?
We're gonna keep that to ourselves.
Oh, well, they're wrong because that's hentai.
All right.
All right.
Anyways, you know what's not hentai? The man of the hour,
Regular anime.
Mr. Nicolas Cage.
There he is.
There he is.
The Pickless Sage.
Nicholas Cagerson.
So what's everyone's first impression on Nicolas Cage tonight?
Ah!
Well,
He likes to
He does. I feel like he just kind of throws it against the wall in every movie and just like hopes it lands sometimes, and like maybe a quarter of the time it does.
Very Johnny Depp.
I'd say a quarter of the investment.
Quarter of the time it lands, but 100% of the time he buys a house.
That is true. That is very true.
100% of the time, the accountant tells him not to spend this money recklessly. And
But he wants
of the
that
time
money.
he does.
Yeah, then he convinces his accountant he's wrong.
He yells at he puts his accountant in a bear suit.
And tells him that he's a vampire.
It's fine. I can buy this house. I'll just be in every movie next year.
Not the bees!
The better question is, when are we going to get Nick Cage in the Marvel universe?
Please,
already
let's-
did.
Yeah, let's not.
Ghost Rider?
Don't they need a new Iron Man? Huh?
I'd rather not.
Man.
Just imagine like Nick Cage following around Peter Parker like RDJ did and just yelling at him in the fatherly way.
Well, if you want that, he can just be Norman Osborn, be the Green Goblin.
Ooh, okay, that's a hot take, but maybe that's for another day.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe.
So, speaking of Mr. Cage, what's everyone's favorite Nicolas Cage movie?
The Crew.
National Treasure.
National Treasure. I like National Treasure.
Tom, what is your favorite Nick Cage movie?
So, I mean, I would say probably this one, Matchstick Men, for an actual good movie. But my favorite Nick Cage movie, for all the wrong reasons, would be Pay the Ghost.
Why don't you give us some of those wrong reasons?
He, how do I put this? Kind of lumbers down the street a lot as he runs, in a panic. He yells a lot. Sometimes I can't tell if he's drunk or just like, I don't know. It's a lot of stuff going on.
What's the purpose of the movie? Like, what is he supposed to even? What is leading him to run down the street lumbering?
Oh, okay, it's pretty good. So, he's a shitty dad, kind of, and he brings his son out to like a urban street style Halloween parade. And he gets kidnapped, and it turns out it's by a ghost. There's a whole bunch of stuff happens, man. Crazy.
That doobie sounded very Nick Cagey.
Nick Cagey seems primed to just play the shitty dad.
He gets him back, though.
He gets him back.
He gets him back.
He may be a ghost when he gets him back, but he gets him back.
He gets him back.
Ooh, spooky.
So, what about the National Treasure? What appeals to you about the National Treasure?
Everything. It's a masterpiece. They baked the Declaration of Independence with lemon juice on it.
Perfectly glazed.
With a historian in the room with them.
That's true.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
These are all things that have.
Just imagine watching someone who like takes very, very good care of like documents and old things like that. And Nick Cage, yeah, we're gonna fucking bake it.
Okay.
Throw that shit in the oven.
And we're gonna cover it in lemon juice.
We're gonna smoke weed out of it.
These
We're
are
gonna roll
absolutely-
into a blunt and smoke it.
We're gonna smoke the founding fathers.
These are all things that actually do happen in this film.
It's amazing, and that's only Act 1.
I think you're thinking of how.
No, that's Act 2. That's Act.
Yeah, I guess that's Act 2. That's the start of Act 2.
I low key
Pretty
love
acting.
National Treasure.
I think
Oh,
everyone
me
does.
too.
It's hands down his best movie.
I would. I don't know about all that.
You hear what I said about Pay the Ghost?
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
He brought his son to an urban haunted house.
He runs.
Nicolas Cage running for an hour and 45 minutes.
I mean, I think that's incidentally happened before.
Yeah, it was called The Knowing.
I've never seen.
Yeah, it's probably for the best. That movie is
Yeah,
fucking
the
awful.
best.
National Treasure, man.
Well,
That's-
you want a
that's
movie
the-
that means nothing? No.
Next, that and The Knowing.
The Knowing.
The Knowing
Is
is
it-
really bad.
Is that your favorite one? The Knowing.
No, my favorite Nick Cage movie is actually The Family Man, with him and Tia
Ooh.
Leone. It's a really good movie. I really like
I
it.
actually really like that movie.
It's actually a hard toss up between that and Weatherman. Those are both pretty solid Nick
Oof.
Cage movies.
Never seen Weatherman.
They're both really good movies. So
I do remember Family Man having a nice, heartwarming ending.
It kind of does. I mean, spoilers for the Family Man. Like he's a businessman who broke up with his girlfriend because she went to Paris or some shit.
Yeah.
And then he meets Don Cheadle, who is a ghost guy, angel dude or whatever. I don't know what he is, but
I forgot that whole storyline. I want to watch this now.
Yeah, he he sends him to an alternate reality where he convinces her to stay or whatever, and then they end up having a family, and like he's in the shoes of him as a family person, and he does not like it at first. But then he's like, I love these guys, and then at the end of the movie, he like finds where she is, and she's about to like move to Paris or something at the end of the movie. And
I remember that part.
And he like convinces her to like stay, and then they start their relationship over again, but without the kids in the suburban home and him working at a tire place instead of being the businessman he is. So it's an interesting movie. I like it.
So wasn't he kind of a shitty dad in that too?
I mean, he wasn't a shitty dad because he was a shitty dad. It's just he didn't know how to be a dad. So you can't really constitute someone who's like a first time dad as a shitty dad because it's a lot to learn. If you're still doing that shit by the third kid or a second kid, then you're hot.
Perhaps that might be time to start considering some form of contraceptive.
Hey, I've been doing all right.
Oof.
Do a loop-de-loop and pull.
And your shoes are looking cool.
So,
or unless you're talking about a vasectomy.
That's what I was talking about.
Ah, okay.
I got this other movie by Nick Cage, right? And it's kind of like a suspense horror movie. And he's a private investigator, and some old lady's like, hey, I found this really fucked up movie in my basement, and I think it was my husband's. And it's a straight up snuff film. Like on a projector and all. Like pulls out a film reel and they watch a snuff film. And then she pays Nick Cage to find out if it's real because she feels so bad about it for whatever reason. And Nick Cage runs around the seedy underbelly of LA or New York, I think both of them at one point, and meets characters like Joaquin Phoenix as some porn store addict, and they go looking for some shit. It's called 8mm from Mr. Joel Schumacher, if anyone's familiar with that guy's work. It's some pretty bad... It's some pretty bad Batman movies.
Batnips.
Bad man.
Put it on the Bat credit card.
Oh my god! I wish I could have been old enough to when those came out to just understand how terrible they were because I liked them because I was 5.
Right.
What do you think the interest rate on a Bat card is?
3.5.
That's not bad.
No, it's not. It's a good rate.
I think you'd have better Batman.
Yeah.
I really appreciate all the Arnold Schwarzenegger puns.
Nice to meet you.
It's the interest rate we deserve.
But not the one we need.
When I saw the Tim Burton Batman in the movie theaters a couple weeks ago, and they had that Alfred, that's the Alfred I remember. And it actually made me really sad, seeing him come on screen, because that was the Alfred I remembered. Just him getting blown off by Batman. Your pizza, sir.
I actually don't even remember that one. Jeremy Irons is honestly my favorite one.
When was Jeremy Irons? Alfred.
He was the newest one, wasn't
he? Yeah, he was the one with Ben Affleck. Batfleck.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
not Rob Bat and Bat.
I love Jeremy Irons. Jeremy Irons is my man.
Yeah. So good in The Watchmen.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons is just he's a top tier actor, and I love him in anything he's in.
Yeah.
Doesn't Jeremy Irons hang dong that whole movie, or is he not that guy?
That is not him.
Damn.
I was talking about the show anyway.
That's really all I know of Watchmen, that I was a comic, and there's a blue guy that hangs dong.
He hangs more dong in the show.
That's a lot of dong, man. He's like Jason Segel.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons is the lead in one of my absolute favorite movies ever. But I don't want to talk about that because that's something I could potentially suggest on here at some point. So, we ready to get into Matchstick Men?
Yeah, I'm gonna get it popping.
Buddy, ever heard of a line?
Hey, have you ever been dragged to the sidewalk and until you pissed blood? No. My doctor gave those to me. They're prefect.
They're supplements, sir.
Bullshit, man! And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I should just blow my brains out and end it all. But then I thought, if I thought more about blowing my brains out, I started worrying about what that was going to do to my goddamn carpet. That is wrong what you did, and you're a nosy Parker, and that's no way for a young lady to behave, and shame on you!
You want to take us away, Tom?
All right. So, Matchstick Men. It's a 2003 movie by Ridley Scott, which surprised me. I did not know that for a while. Really, for me, it was a really fun movie. Just a con man movie. Lots of twists and turns. Keeps you guessing most of the movie. An excellent campy performance by Nick Cage and Sam Rockwell. So, John, what did you think of it?
I actually adored this movie. It was a lot of fun from like beginning to end. I can't. There's like there's a couple things like that were, like I kind of noticed. I was like, yeah, but it didn't really make like sense, but it made sense, I guess, to the story. But I really like all the performances from the three leads. I don't remember the girl's name, but obviously Sam Rockwell and Nick Cage both played the parts very well, and I think everything wraps up very neat at the end too, as a whole.
Alison Lohman is the actress. She was actually 23 when she was cast.
Yep.
Weird.
So as the 14-year-old
that's one
girl.
thing I will.
And Ridley Scott didn't know that. Yeah.
That's one thing I was totally going to elaborate on a little later, because I knew that going into.
Yeah, she was in a horror movie too, right? She was in like
She was in Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah.
She was in Drag Me to Hell a couple of years later, where she was like a straight up adult. So I thought she was going to be older in this movie because like I'm just that guy that looks up the cast. And then he said like, "Oh, she's 14." I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like, no.
The weird thing is like I believed that she was younger too until I actually checked out her IMDb page too.
Well, they also
No,
make
I
her
still
look
don't
really
confirm
young.
Yeah. That's one of the really clever things I think about this movie. Actually,
So what do you think of it?
I liked it. I definitely liked it. I didn't really know what to think about it at first, but the more I thought about some of this stuff, I would say I watched it a couple of days ago, just so I could let it stew a little. And I went back and rewatched a couple scenes from the movie that I thought were key or things I wanted to watch with more clear eyes. And the structure of this movie, I think, is really, really fantastic. I think that's the best part about it. It's almost like I don't want to jam right into it and give it away because I think this one's gonna be a little bit difficult to talk about without spoiling. But I think the structure of this movie is absolutely genius.
Yes.
I would agree.
It's a very well-paced movie, which I didn't expect for a Nicolas Cage piece, but it is a really Scott movie.
Oh no, Nicolas Cage, he gets his good movies. He's just in so many movies that you're gonna get a lot of in there.
Right.
Yeah, I like crime and con movies, but usually this isn't my flavor of it. This is more of like obviously a dark comedy. I like the more darker dramas as opposed to darker comedies.
Like dark.
But I definitely did like this though for sure.
I've been finding more dark comedies that I like lately, and this is one of them.
Yeah, there's one thing that's really interesting about the movie that. So you come into it obviously thinking it's a con movie, like it introduces it pretty quick that these are con men, and so they make you think like you're obviously suspicious now that there's some type of con going on, but the movie like kind of evolves into like a family drama, and I think that's like the first step in the structure that I think is really great. I'll wait to get into that a little bit more. Well, we've discussed some other things, but what's your take on this, Ryan?
I was a fan of it. I was actually like towards the end. I was actually kind of getting annoyed with it. For like just like the way they're like everything's going on, like none of this makes sense. And then the ending happened. I'm like, oh, it all made sense. Oh.
Yeah, there's false flags all over this movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It really got me. It really got me good.
And if you really take a look back at some of the key moments of the film, once you know what's going on, like you can really see them in a different light. It's something I always speak about, where like when you can go back and watch movies in a different light, like there's more to digest, and you see that like something's more crafted a lot more carefully than maybe you would have anticipated on your first watch. I think this definitely falls into those categories. And for a movie that's a black comedy or a dark comedy like this, I don't think that's as common. So that's definitely a testament, especially with Ridley Scott. Like when I think of Ridley Scott, I never think of a movie like this.
Yeah, me either. I immediately think of like Aliens or some shit like that. So that it really blows my mind that this is like a Ridley Scott piece, and it's has nothing to do with sci-fi or anything.
Yeah, she's obviously known for some of the best sci-fi movies. Well, I think Blade Runner is a masterpiece. But even aside from just genre specific, because I don't believe like he can only direct that or anything, even though that's what he's most associated with. I just think of big movies. You know what I mean? This isn't exactly like a big movie. It's like it could have easily been made with a smaller budget, assuming you didn't have to pay for these stars. It definitely is like a film that could have been like adapted to like a smaller budget, which isn't anything I've ever associated with Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
So why did you pick this one, Tom?
So the first time I watched this, I just kind of threw it on. It was just one of those movies to throw on in the background, and I was in a phase of just laughing at Nick Cage movies at that point. But this one really stuck, and I liked it. And then I remember thinking about it months later, thinking I should watch that movie again. And then I started putting a list together of movies to collect, and this is one of them. So when we start talking about movies that we think are hidden gems or big name directors whose smaller works are overshadowed, I thought this fit right in there, and it was a nice time to watch it again.
Yeah.
Plus, I love the con.
Yeah.
And movies.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big on con movies. I feel like there's like a very limited amount of con movies though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw one. Yeah, there was a con movie last summer I watched, House of Games, that I liked so much that I really wanted to look at more like crime and con movies, and I was having trouble finding more con movies. I don't know if this movie was popping up on lists or not. I really don't remember.
Did you watch Con Air? It's got con in the name.
In the last 10 years now, but yeah, it seems like there's a lot of like actually dark comedy con movies, which is kind of not something I really like ever would have like anticipated was a popular genre mashup.
Yeah, it's strange. I have another one actually for a pick for a different time.
Mm-hmm.
Won't spoil it.
I think I know what you're talking about. I won't say it either.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Baba Booey.
Start talking about it.
Yeah. Why don't we get into what this movie's actually about for a little bit?
Yeah.
So as we open up, we see, I think this opening scene too, I want to talk about that a little. I think the opening scene is done really well. It does that thing where it doesn't really tell you anything. It doesn't really show anything, but it builds some mystery to Nicolas Cage's character just by like showing him doing his OCD stuff, like putting on the shoes with the golf club, banging the door. You didn't really know anything about him yet. You suspect something's up, but like, does anybody's mind immediately go to OCD when they see that?
Oh yeah, 100%.
The door makes me think that
he does everything 3 times. So
yeah,
that was like a dead giveaway. And it's also in the description of the movie too.
Well, I try to watch movies with like knowing almost as little as possible. I'm almost like a title person alone. I try to be at least. But that didn't dawn on me as quick, so I think it was really effective in like wrapping up a little mystery where you knew there's something up about him, but not necessarily knowing what it was. It's kind of interesting, the idea of putting someone like Nicolas Cage with extreme phobic and OCD tendencies as a common, because if you do look at his apartment, because of his OCD or his condo, his pool is like meticulously skimmed. His house is like spotless. So those skills really do translate well. It's smart to make a comment based around that character, as weird as it may seem, because if they're so meticulous, that's the person you need for planning. Whereas you see Sam Rockwell's character is opposite, and he's much more cavalier. The stereotypical like swindler almost.
Yeah.
It definitely like pulls him in as the mastermind, but we're kind of show up with him coming into this opening con, and Sam Rockwell's in the office just doing his low-level grifter shift, and I think they're doing it's really effective, like just making him see that he's the master of this operation.
Yeah, with him like coming in and he just like virtually instantly closes the deal.
Yeah,
With
I think it's
he was on the phone with.
Yeah, and I think it's really smart too, like how they just to show you that these guys aren't just small. Their guys aren't just small time.
Yeah,
They have like the twist on that first con. He's not just ripping old people off. They're going into the home, like really getting down their throat and taking everything.
yeah.
That was a good con.
Yeah,
Yeah. I was like,
That's-
oh man, they're conning him, and then all of a sudden they go wipe their bank account. It's like, oh sheesh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
that was-
that. That beginning one's so nice. I like that one a lot.
It's just like think about that from a like, oh man, I just got conned. Oh, the FBI or whatever, like whatever government to show up to my house, and then you find out you get conned again. How fucking mad would you be?
yeah.
First it was the wife, then it was the husband.
I love how they have like the husband all fired up too to just like
Yeah.
walk right, and then he just walks right into it. It's like you almost don't believe someone's that stupid. But that's actually like it's kind of just hit me now. That's a pretty good metaphor for I think this whole movie as a viewer. Going back to the structure I was talking about, it's another little notch in the belt on it. I think this scene is super effective towards the end because, like I said, I wasn't as keen to you as about the OCD tendencies, as silly as that sounds now. So when you have that opening scene and that light shines in his eye,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that was something more related to his illness other than just OCD. So it does like a really cool thing where there's something wrong with him, but again, like you don't know exactly what until it builds a little more and really spells it out for you.
Mhm.
And that's super effective in the idea where he's playing this awful person and you kind of see, well, not really, he's not awful, but like an occupational,
Yeah.
Well,
but they make you feel bad for him at the beginning though, and then like as the movie goes into and you see him devolve and see just how he acts, like you're more laughing at him.
Yeah.
Just makes Nicolas Cage a really good cast from that.
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, definitely.
So after they move on with this first con, we learn this is where it kind of starts to shift away from con stuff when we just learn more about Nicolas Cage, and I think that's the first what I'm going to call swerve of the movie. Where they start now, this is where I mean the movie. I think the movie's really smart, where it takes you away from the idea of a con, because you're obviously going to be suspicious that there's something going on the whole movie.
Yeah.
Right? Being the nature of the movie.
Instead of calling it a swerve, can we call it a cage dive?
A cage dive. Well, you get thrown into a little cage. This is your first throwing to the cage dive.
Thank you.
Exit cage left.
Yes. So we see more about his disorder. He's got these fluorescent pink pills that so they obviously want you to focus on them to know that's what's keeping them together, and they all end up down the drain through just one of those old Nicolas Cage moments.
Oops.
Oops.
You don't say.
All pills.
I'm a vampire.
So Nicolas Cage reaches out to Sam Rockwell's character after losing all his pills and devolving for a couple of days, which makes perfect sense at this point because they make pains to show you that Nicolas Cage is like the mastermind behind this whole con operation, where Sam Rockwell is a lot less experienced and he's younger. They do a good job of that. Makes sense. The characters are both cast pretty well.
Yeah.
And he gets sent to this psychiatrist by his partner that he says his aunt went to. At this point, were you guys suspicious of anything? What did you feel about this?
Was not suspicious.
Yeah, I wasn't
I'm still at this point trying to figure out what's going on with Nick Cage.
I was not sussing at all.
Yeah, I think it was more like of the movie, like it was more of like a segue to make the movie for us to understand Nick Cage's like character more and like find out more about it as like his tics,
Yeah,
or, like, his phobias.
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely a good way where they really like show you his assertiveness too, because he's in the psychiatrist just like demanding the pills basically.
Yeah,
So it really it shows you like him taking charge, which tells you a little bit more. It exposites about did he already talk about his potential long lost child at this point, or was this the first time he talked about it?
That was the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's what, yeah. So he talks about his 14 years ago, his separation from a woman that's really sends him this spiral who is pregnant with a child and doesn't know anything past that. And then he's prescribed these pills straight away from this guy after coming and demanding them, and not after he's forced to divulge this.
Yeah. Oh.
And then our first big turn of the movie, as life tries to go as usual, we find out this psychiatrist has contacted the woman that Nicholas. That wasn't in the first session. He went back to him a couple times, right?
Yeah. So in the first session, he just got the pills, and then it was the second session when he to get more pills. That's when they kind of started. That's when him and the psychiatrist started to have more of a rapport with each other.
Yeah, so that's honestly an interesting dynamic too, where a con man's putting their trust into someone, even though it's your psychiatrist. I feel like there's a principle that it goes behind even doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because of this, we are eventually introduced to Nicolas Cage's long lost daughter, played by Alison Lohman, who we just discussed was actually like 23 years old, playing a 14-year-old. Well, I believe she was 14 the whole movie.
Yeah. They definitely make her look very young with the pigtails and all of that.
Yeah. She has this talk to her like this too, which does sound very adolescent.
Yeah. It makes me scared as a dad.
Why does it make you scared as a dad?
You know why.
Okay. I don't. That's why I asked, but that's okay.
You know why.
We're not dads, Dad.
Oh,
yeah,
well,
we're not dads.
Well, as a dad, the fact that my 14-year-old daughter can also be misconstrued as a older woman and vice versa is very scary.
I see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or a con artist.
Or a con artist. If she's anything like her father, she will be.
Yeah. So this is the first point where it really devolves into the family drama territory. She starts getting in the way of all this stuff. She's very impulsive, just like him. Well, he's not really impulsive. I don't know why I said that.
Volatile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole wild card factor.
Yeah.
Which that really makes sense the way her character's running, that they made her more of a wild card. They definitely put the troubled teenage edge on her. That was really good. That was good writing. Yeah, this is your second Cage dive of the movie if you're keeping count at home. I think they're just at this point, as the relationship starts to develop and you start to care, it starts to. There's not even a con going on at this point that he has in works or anything, right?
Frank is pushing him towards one, but he hasn't committed yet.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. They're learning. They're preparing to swindle the big whale at the strip club.
Because seemingly at this point, Frank's never done, or Sam Rockwell's character's never done an actual big heist. He's only done the small water purifier one that we've seen in small little cons like that where he's not walking away with $100,000. He's just walking away with maybe 1,000.
Yeah.
Right.
So basically, Nick Cage meets his daughter for the first time, just randomly out in public in his car, under no other pretenses other than she wants to meet you, and he didn't even know she existed until a phone call previously. What do you think of this first interaction between the two?
I don't know. It's one of those things where I can see it being very realistic because say all of us have relationships with our fathers, but if you don't talk to your kid in a while, it's kind of weird talking to them again. I mean, I've never gone more than 4 or 5 days without talking to my kid, but I mean even after that long, it's kind of awkward. So I can only imagine what 14 years would do to you.
It's also just this whole he didn't even know she existed. Now he's yeah,
that's the other thing.
Sorry, you grew up without a dad.
Oops. Yeah, after all that, don't you think she'd be a little bit pissed off? Mom. She seems very welcoming to just hang out with her dad, which you really wouldn't expect from a troubled child.
Well, no, but at the same time, I think the way it's built up, it's not like he walked out of her life.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming she, they're saying she would have been told oh yeah, your mom didn't ever, you said, her mom said he died before she was even born initially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she never actually so it would have been, it's she never actually knew she like he was just like a deadbeat or anything. Like she didn't think of that or anything.
Yeah.
And little girls are definitely way different from boys, where they're more compassionate and caring. Whereas like a 14-year-old dude, like a boy, like at our age, like we'd be like, well, fuck you, dude. Like I don't know who you are. Like like a little girl would be like, oh, I want to know this man because he's part of my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you kind of get distracted from anything that might be inconsistent about it too, because I already like Nicolas Cage's character at this point.
Me too.
Yeah. I like his character a lot. The way I like following this guy around,
He's
learning
not
him.
screaming a lot, so I like that.
This is definitely a top acting performance I've seen by him.
100%.
He does a really good job in this role, painting himself as a sympathetic character, and someone you really enjoy following around. And a movie like this doesn't work if you just don't enjoy following the guy around.
Yeah,
They really did a good job of making him sympathetic, considering he is a criminal right from the get-go.
Yeah, and like you don't really feel that way about Sam Rockwell's character. Like, granted, there's a lot less development, a lot less screen time, but like you don't ever like feel bad for that guy.
I think it's also like the attitudes, like especially like Nick Cage's character talks about. It's like he never just takes from people anything that he ever like conned people that he was given or he gave to them. As Sam Rockwell's character, like he doesn't explicitly say it, but gives out the vibe that he just wants to be rich. Like he doesn't give a shit how it happens.
Yeah. Yep. And realistically, they don't like nothing bad ever happens to him, so they don't really give you a reason to feel bad for him.
Yeah.
So there's all that. Yeah, but
anything bad happens to him, you like don't really care about him.
Yeah, that's a better way of putting it, because I did not care about him the whole movie.
Nah, he was more like a B character in this film. Like the film is basically about Nick Cage and his daughter.
Yeah, it had to really center around. Well, that's like, I think it's so genius that they really focused on that, and they made it like a drama, and you care more about you're along on this journey where like Nick Cage is meeting his daughter, and you see him bonding over his same attitude towards cons, and her kind of having that chip on her shoulder and being interested in this, but at the same time he's hesitant to really teach her to be this less so, because realistically, even if like you become rich doing all this stuff, would you really want your kid to walk down that path? You're always walking a tightrope in life.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
For your child. And you definitely see that through when she swindles into learning a little con after they spend some time together, and he makes her give her rewards back.
I love that part a lot, actually.
Also, like when like she to just backtrack a little, like how she just like shows up at his door like after they hang out. It's like, oh, my mom. I think she show. No, she didn't show up crying, but she got kicked out of the house.
Yeah,
then,
she got a fight with her mom and ran away to hang out dad.
And then like it all, like especially like during that, it kind of tells us more about like even more about Nick Cage's character, about how much of a creature of habit he is. Where he has like tuna and like bread.
Yeah.
Like he literally has like 3 things. I don't remember exactly. I remember the tuna.
And he keeps it in the fridge too.
Like 3 things.
Yeah. Like, why is it in the fridge? Why do you have to keep canned tuna cold?
Canned tuna in the fridge.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
Tuna, bro.
Like, especially the part where he's like separating the stuff in the fridge, and it's like his and hers, and it's just like a stack of canned tuna in the fridge. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, this is tuna, not tuna, man.
Yeah, tuna and not tuna, basically. Yeah.
I really like how she just like follows him along when like he clearly doesn't want her to be involved in something, or he's like, "You stay here," and then she just immediately, like, not even subtly, just pops up next to him smiling, and he just like can't say no.
Yeah,
those are. I think it's really it really effectively just shows the relationship he's building between them in a short amount of time like that. These characters work very well to play off each other like this, and you really do end up caring about this relationship between Nick Cage and his daughter.
And then just the last point I wanted to bring up, when she like first comes over his house, and like he has to go for a little bit for a quote unquote business meeting. What he tells her, he goes like kind of rummaging around the house, and then she finds his little dog that he hides his pocket cash and his gun in, which is which is a little bit of foreshadowing in the dog.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. We can file that one under obvious foreshadowing.
Yeah. I think the second you saw like she reaches in and like sees the dog, sees the money and the gun, like it's gonna come up.
Yeah, it's gonna come back full circle.
Maybe.
It's Oh, that's like another back to the structure. I keep hammering down the structure because I just can't wait to talk about it once we get into spoilers. But that's like this movie dangles in front of you, like literally what is gonna happen.
It really does, and I love it because it really made the ending a lot better.
Yeah, it's so smart. Like it really gives you it spells out for you like what's going to happen, and it just finds a way to get you to look at other things.
Yeah, it doesn't scream anything in your face. It's very subtle, and it drops little breadcrumbs throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, and that's like where you really got it. And going back, you see a lot of these things after rewatching with fresh eyes. But I really got to give credit to Ridley Scott for the direction in this movie. It's really effective the way this is sculpted and the way he frames things, the way he gives motivations for certain scenes.
Yeah.
So back to the actual business meeting. Other than the initial con, this is the first like real in action scene we see between these two characters. It's pretty.
It's like the start of the big con.
Yeah, where they're going to this strip club to meet this whale. Where we're finding out now the main play is Nicolas Cage works at this bank where he's skimming money off the top on exchange rates.
Yeah,
correct.
And then he was going to take his money to do an exchange swap. He makes a little cash. He gets real money back, and they're going to get him in the end somehow. We don't know how yet.
Yeah.
You have this interaction. So you have the set, but they don't really elaborate much once they're in the strip club. It's really plays second hand to the relationship between.
Yeah, it's just like kind of their initial meeting where like this is the start of the con, and we're going to start working it.
Yeah, it's played out very well too. I like the interactions between all three of the characters there.
Yeah. That's a scene I couldn't find again. I would like to watch again.
I like the casting of Chuck a lot as well.
Yeah,
that guy nails it.
He does. Yeah, he's in a lot of good movies too.
Yeah, he seems like exactly the kind of guy that would get nailed, like the guy that just wants to fly.
He's like, I want to be rich.
Look at my mustache.
Bury me with my money.
That too.
We can work our way back to him doing his first or teaching Allison cons or a con because she won't stop pestering him.
Nobody wanna see us together, but it don't matter now. Well, now that I think
like with this, it really it kind of shows like how well crafted he is when he comes to like his cons.
Yeah,
where like he's able to like quickly teach her a con that just quickly makes her $400.
Yeah,
like and like the way the way he's able to like teach her like just like a simple con, but he knows how to like teach it so well, and that she was even able to pull it off with no experience.
Yeah,
like right away.
Yeah. So, what did you guys think of this actual con?
I thought it was brilliant. Actually, I really liked it. Like I would have never thought about it, but it's like it looks like it's something easy that can be pulled off. Like that's why he taught her that. I don't know. I really like the interaction between Laundry Lady. She doesn't actually have a name. It's just literally like in IMDb, she's called Laundry Lady.
Lady from Donnie Darko.
And that's exactly all I think. I think her from that, and from she was on Malcolm in the Middle too. She was like the whacked out mom.
Yeah,
one of the Krill boys.
Yeah, she just like walks in there, like drops the receipt, and then it like just starts like a whole chain of events, and it's played out very well. And I actually really like this scene a lot, especially when it ends with him being like, "You have to get that money back." By the way,
that's that interaction I was talking about. Where he has this moral conflict of teaching his daughter how to scam people, but he also want to be a good father. That's like I like that. Really like that scene too, where he's yelling at her for the first time.
Oh, when she comes home later.
Yeah, but he's in no better position than her, and he doesn't understand how to really yell at a child.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
It's him just kind of being like, oh, I need to be a strict dad, but like you're saying, he doesn't know how to be a dad. Like, he's essentially been a dad for like 48 hours.
Yeah,
so,
and
the only thing like literally he just sees like, I'm gonna talk to you like if it was someone I know, and I was pissed off they did this.
And he immediately backtracks it multiple times in the movie where she gets upset. Yes. I'm sorry.
That's basically being a parent. Like you yell at your kids and you immediately apologize for yelling at them.
It doesn't make you like his character a lot more.
Well, yeah, he's just a dude that like doesn't know how to do this job that's been kind of like forced upon him. So he's just trying to do his best, and like it's not easy being a dad, especially when you don't have anyone there telling you how to do it too, like a partner and stuff like that. So he's kind of just winging like the whole thing, and it's not like a con where you can just kind of like go in and do your thing and like it's all planned and meticulous. It's like being a father is very much like, hey, this is what happened today. How do I help teach my child how to not be a douchebag, basically?
Yeah.
A lot of movies I think I've seen try to pull this off too. The whole situation of child thrown in with no experience,
Big Daddy,
in the midst of their life. A lot of movies. I like that movie. You know, I love that movie.
It's a great movie. It's top tier. Adam Sandler.
I think this is one of the best movies for pulling that off, though. It seems very genuine in this movie, and you really do care about the relationship. So back to the actual cons. Does anybody have any other comments on this con?
I do, actually. I like how he is trying to share something with his daughter, and at the end, he teaches her to do the right thing. But at the start of it, he very specifically targets the woman in the laundromat, the woman who doesn't have a lot of money, can't do her laundry at home, with the lottery ticket. So I think it was pretty smart.
Okay, that is smart. Because I actually have a little beef with this con. I know it's not the point of it, and that is a little like feather in the hat that like, yeah, it's the lady who doesn't have a lot, and she's more apt to like live on a prayer for the laundry ticket, like God knows down the street at that little corner store. I see a lot of elderly people playing Keno all day and buying mountains of scratch tickets. But I felt like this con was a little too convenient. Like there was a lot of moving parts that had to fall exactly into place and had to go a little wrong, and that made me for a little bit. I don't know about that.
Very true. And that's why I think it has to be the lady in the laundromat, unless you want to spend a lot of time on that one scene.
Yeah.
Well, that's also what I mean. Like, it's also like when I say like it kind of shows how good he is at being a con man. Like he was able to point. Oh yeah, she's a good target. Like at this point he's been doing this long enough where he knows. Like, oh, she's gonna be an easy target. If we do this, it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, I just felt like there was a moving part a little bit too much in it.
Yeah.
It was also like moved along by him like chiming in. Like she's not gonna obviously expect they're here together. Because he even was like, "Oh, that still pays."
Yeah, so there's it's really kind of just a nitpick because if you do something that's more practical and like quick, you really miss the character development that this scene does have. Because this scene does have pretty important plot points to the relationship between these two.
Yeah.
So she gets a little taste for it here, and she just keeps following around. Not that she wasn't earlier, but you just kind of get this vibe that she was just this curious kid. All right, so once she gets her little taste for the first con, we go ahead and start moving a little bit towards the main con. We still really don't know much about it other than that initial meeting. It seems like Nicolas Cage is just like the kind of the orchestrator, and Sam Rockwell's character does a lot of the legwork. Does a lot of the practical things, and Nicolas Cage is more of a closer, or at least in this kind of looks to be as such. And that in itself is actually kind of genius. I'm sure we'll get into that shortly, but we just know they do a little rehearsal of it, and we just know it's something that's going to happen in an airport, and from there things start to change or go awry. So I think we're about ready to jump into spoilers and start discussing that.
Let's jump it in the cage, the mind of the cage.
Jump it in the cage.
Holler if you hear me!
Whoa, slow down there, Chief. Looks like we are entering spoiler territory. If you have not seen this film and would prefer for it not to be spoiled, you may want to consider skipping to the timestamp provided below. Thanks for listening. Alright, so at this point, we got Alison Lohman's character getting full-on pulled into the con by circumstance.
Her name's Angela.
Angela. I just call them by their actors' names. I don't know why. And I have her name in front of me too.
I alternate.
Yeah.
Angela.
Angela. It's
Angela
weird.
Anaconda.
It's weird when you get to a point where you just call
Angela
actors by their
Pickles.
names. Pretty sure it's Angelica Pickles.
It was absolutely. That's where Rugrats stole it from.
Okay.
Hard fact.
Hard fact. But anyways, so we jump into this con with her involved. At this point, was anybody suspicious at all? Is anything going on here?
Well, originally she wasn't supposed to be involved. It was supposed to be the homeless guy.
Yeah, quick $50.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like, so it was by circumstance she ends in. But I don't know. I don't think I was suspicious at this point. It's kind of hard sometimes to think back a little bit. But she gets roped into this con and causes a distraction so they can swap briefcases. And that's when their whale has found that he has been got. And
He got.
And he is not laying it down lightly. And that's when we start to move into our final act of the movie, where after escaping the airport from their target, we start to find out one of the big pulls to both Sam Rockwell and Nicolas Cage's characters. They both have a clean record. However, their new protege does not, even at the tender age of 14 years old.
Can you not use the word tender and 14 years old in the same sentence ever again, please?
When I was 14 years old,
Cancelled?
I liked chicken tenders.
That's better.
I still like chicken tenders.
Yeah,
I do.
Said.
He goes to the steakhouse and orders chicken tenders.
Oh my god, let's not even talk about that. Jesus. Yeah, so she gets pulled into this, and now you're entering this dynamic where they have to kind of evacuate the premises, and the father-daughter romance is going to end one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes more, and you get a little anxiety now because now you know something could happen. But a little bit of time passes, and they focus more in the beginning. And I kind of feel swerved again, where I don't think anything's going to happen. I think everything's going to be fine.
Yep.
You definitely get that false sense of hope.
Yeah.
Well, security more than hope. It's more like a false sense of security, yeah.
Then all of a sudden, this little interaction comes where the guy had a gun, right?
Yeah. Nick Cage and his daughter come home, and Bruce McGill is sitting on the couch with Sam Rockwell, looking pistol whipped.
He definitely got beat the fuck up.
Yeah. I'm totally into at this point, and I immediately knew where I was going with the gun with that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we have this little intense Nicolas Cage trying to save his daughter, even if it means saving himself, as we all expected. And then all of a sudden, she comes out with the gun,
crying,
and there are some shots fired.
Well, there's a shot fired.
Yes.
I also like the way
I guess it is a single shot.
Yeah, it's a shot heard around the world.
That Bruce McGill's character, he's like the way he's acting towards her, because she's holding the gun incredibly timidly, like it's literally pointing at his feet.
Yeah.
In his position, he's just because it's not like he's like a clean guy, like he was trying to do a scam himself.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not scared of any of this necessarily, and so he's walking towards her she's not gonna shoot me, she's a child, look the way she's holding it, and then just takes a gut shot.
Yeah, that scene is absolutely believable. The way she holds the gun, that's exactly you expect someone for an attack. But at the same day, it's I feel like I'd be prepared to shoot.
Yeah, I feel like the way he's
situation,
approaching her, I feel like there's just if someone's more of a hardened criminal, there's I know how people act. She doesn't have. She has the chutzpah to shoot me.
Yeah,
right. I think they mentioned at one point that he has connections to mafia, or is a few degrees off the mafia or something that.
Yeah, he's just when he finds her on the airport security camera, he says something it pays to have some friends on the force.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Realistically, any rich guy that's trying to do illegal shit, you have to assume has the connections to do something.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, he eats one in the gut, and that was enough of a gut punch for me, because at this point, we were watching we watched this relationship blossom between the father and daughter, and she's just put in this situation of peril. And I thought they were just at this point they're going crying game ending, where someone takes the blame for a murder so someone can live their life.
Mhm.
And I was at this point, and now
Yeah.
I guess we can talk about what I mean with the structure. And like, this is where I think this movie's fucking genius. They literally show you it's a con movie. They show you these are con artists. They show like there's a con going on. They dangle it right in front of you, but they distract you and make you think you're watching some family drama, and you completely just get distracted that there's a con going on, and that ultimately Nicolas Cage is the Connie.
Mhm.
And I think it's so smart, just the way they make this movie. They put it in front of you and just do things to distract you from it. Like this ending being one of them, where she pops the guy, and you just think he's gonna turn in his ways and go ahead and be there for his daughter and take the blame so she can go on.
Yeah.
And it's this tender story with
Yeah.
a nice heartwarming sad drama. It was a sad ending. It seemed complete. It seemed a little by the numbers there, but completely chopped up to believability.
Well, so especially starting with like them breaking or him getting into the house. This is when the movie I started to get like annoyed because obviously not knowing the way it ends. I'm like bullshit. I'm like bullshit. He fucking found him through through one singular like security camera and all of this. It was stuff like that where it was like the likelihood. It's like it all seemed like it was way too convenient for me.
I did think it was pretty incredible. They could pull this girl's face off of a camera and then like get a write up from her, connect him to him, and then get him there.
Yeah. Well, it was
Very
also
quickly.
like so that was like where it started for me. But then obviously once like all of that pops off, and then we get the cops who show up.
Yeah.
We get the cops who show up, and it's just like, okay, what do you mean the cops were listening to him this whole time? And all of this that's going on when they like take him away after he gets like smacked in the head.
Yeah.
With something blunt.
Yeah. So when he's in this room with the cops getting drilled, like, what did you guys think of that?
I thought it was a good scene because like you show him like he's obviously like he's just a normal dude, like he's not some superhero, like he got bumped in the head, he's got a concussion, and like you think like, oh hey, like this guy's going to go to jail and stuff like that. Then he requests the psychiatrist to come in because he wants to make sure that he can save his daughter and help her out too. And then the psychiatrist comes in, and and then it just becomes a whole other thing. So I don't know. Are we getting to talking about that? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, you can talk about it.
Yeah. So the psychiatrist comes in, and there's an earlier scene where him and his daughter go to the bank. Into his safe box or strong box, lock box, whatever you want to call it.
Safety deposit box.
Safety deposit box, yeah. And he ends up actually putting her name on there. So she just needs a password. So he ends up giving the psychiatrist a password. And then after that, he leaves, and then he wakes up like it doesn't really specify how much time it is.
He like wakes up and he's confused why like it's all so hot. And he's able to get out of the bed, and that's when you finally like the curtain's been pulled, and you realize, holy shit,
he's on a rooftop.
Well, when he walks out of this like fucking trailer, and he's like on top of a parking garage, and you're like, holy fuck!
Yeah, you realize the cage man has in fact been caged.
He's been caged. The animal has been caged.
The animal has been caged.
And at that point too, it just keeps going down because you really don't know how far this thing rolls down.
You don't know like how big Sam Rock, or I shouldn't. You do know. You don't even realize how big like Sam Rockwell has like robbed him at this point.
Yeah, because as soon as that voice comes up, and like he's running down out from the roof, and he's like running across the road and stuff to like get out. Then he gets home and he sees that note, and then you're just like, okay. But then he goes to his ex-wife's house, and that's where it kind of
he goes to the bank first.
Oh, that's right.
He goes to the bank first, realizes he has no money. Yeah. And that's when he goes to his ex-wife's house, and he's just like, Angela, 14 years ago, did you keep the baby? And she tells me he has a miscarriage, and he's just like breaking down.
Yeah, that's when the movie explodes for me.
That's such a punch in the gut.
Yeah, that's when it's like, oh, fuck.
You feel so bad for this guy at that point. I fucking
I did
felt
too,
it for
yeah.
the kids. They took advantage of this emotionally distraught guy, made him believe he had a child, made him grow up, made him spend this time around this random woman who we will soon find out is not 14.
Yeah.
It's just so to take him for everything he's a guy, and you like this guy. You hung out with him all movie,
Yeah.
like you learned his ticks. You saw that he's not this bad guy. He's around all these people that actually do suck.
Yeah.
It's really effective how they build up to that. And it's really genius too that this guy's a con man. He's very precise. So you think he'd be wise, so a lot of these things are happening because if you really look back up, it's like a lot of this things obvious, and he's so distracted by the idea of this child and built up into that he's missing all these things right in front of his eyes.
Yeah.
It's really brilliant that they found a way to see a con man be conned while conning us. I feel like the goal of this movie is to con you, and they really do. They make you think you're watching this piece about this father and his child, and all of a sudden it's actually just to distract you from what's really going on. It's super, super smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, they set it up really early on too. When he goes to the psychiatrist the first time, you can tell that he has a great sense of anxiety, but they don't tell you exactly what it's about yet.
Yep.
And when they eventually get to the point of the psychiatrist saying, well, "I know you're a criminal," he says
that part.
I love that part. Yeah.
Says, no, I never took anything. The things I got were because people gave them to me.
Yeah.
Like they did the same thing to him. They gave him what they thought he wanted. They pulled that out of him in the psychiatrist's office. He found out about his ex-girlfriend, the possible child. They distracted him with all that. And then that's how he got in. Like he's a very protected guy. He has the safe deposit box. He has the dog. And they find all of it through the girl.
It's very much like with I'm sure like it would have been like Sam Rockwell's character obviously hiring this fake psychiatrist to be like, all right, you tell me what he told you and we can figure out where we're going from there.
Yeah, that's why I thought about that when we were talking about when there was the revelation that he potentially had a child. When do you think Sam Rockwell kind of sculpted this plan?
Well, I'm sure you told about him,
I think that was where he had the plan. He says at the end that you always told me to go for a big score if I had an opportunity. I think he's always been looking for that opportunity, and it works for the mastermind, so he knows there's one there.
Yeah, and then when he revealed the kid, he showed him the neck.
And they got there quick. The psychiatrist did like some cold read stuff that you see like the fake psychics do.
Yeah. The psychiatrist was definitely super.
They were definitely reaching for it, and I think they jumped on.
Yeah, and when he told them this, when he gave him the code, like that took me back too. Like I didn't ever suspect the psychiatrist being in on it.
Yeah, that's why it was like huge, because like a lot of psychiatrists will give you a placebo too. Like he finds out like halfway through the movie that he was just giving him like an over the counter like kind of like placebo pill for his anxiety.
Menopause.
And like at that point, I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense because a lot of the psychiatrists do that, especially when people come in asking for pills like that because they don't want to get someone like addicted to this stuff.
Demanding them.
Exactly. Yeah. So
yeah, I suspected that.
It was kind of hard. It wasn't until like the part where he actually gives them the code. I'm like, well, why would he give him like the code, and like why would he be so receptive to it? You know what I mean? Because if he was a real fucking psychiatrist, he would be like, I can't do this now. That's why it was kind of like that. That's when it kind of clicked for me. I'm like, well, this dude doesn't seem like that legit. Like
honestly, even that for me, it felt more like he like. Because he was assuming he's gonna go away. He's gonna go away to like forever, and like he's like, all right, I'll help this guy out for this one small thing.
Yeah, that's how I felt. It was totally believable to me at that point.
He does say earlier on when he called his ex-wife, he says, "Well, I can't lie to her," so he sets that up there, and then he more or less lies to the cops through an omission.
Yeah,
like, hiding that from them. So But also, I think I see where you guys are coming from with like, if I don't do this, this guy's life is over.
Exactly, yeah. But like a psychiatrist would actually never call like someone in the family and ask them for information like that. That's another thing. Like at the beginning, I was like, that doesn't really make sense because like obviously I've been in a couple therapy sessions and like not once has they ever been like, oh, do you want me to call this person? I'm like, because I'd be like, please don't.
Didn't
And
you
it all-
request?
No, he didn't. He didn't
request
request. Yeah.
Oh, he requested
requested.
it. I don't think
Yeah.
they can do that still though because of like HIPAA and all that shit.
Right. I don't think they would either, and it all happens off screen, so that's
Yeah.
really shady.
Yeah.
Well,
At the
one
same time,
thing.
it makes it kind of feel like he's a shady psychiatrist, considering he just gives them pills.
Yeah. And I think what
Like,
does
it's from Frank.
Yeah. And what I think does put a little credence into all this is they have very real interactions. Like it doesn't seem very business. It kind of seems like he calls him out on his bullshit that he knows he's not in the antiques. Like he knows he's a criminal. Like he sees through them, but he's not like judgmental of them.
Yeah.
And they have this like friendly rapport. And he seems very shooken up when he gets called in and called for. That you really do believe that this guy is just going to help him out as a man and not as a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
I think they do a good job of building the believability of that up. And this whole scam really brings a lot more light to Sam Rockwell's character, where he's kind of just portrayed as a fucking moron throughout the movie. He's riding on the coattails, but he really crafted this all, and it was just like it was really brilliant to use that open spot he showed him to really distract him from what was going on.
Yeah.
And what was also, he did a lot of little things too, very deliberately, that you didn't realize at once because you just thought he was a buffoon. Like when he comes in and he won't take his shoes off. He starts like eating, getting crumbs over the carpet. And he's just stressing him out. It's completely calculated to put him in this state, to get him as vulnerable and distracted as possible.
Yeah.
He makes two missteps with Chuck too. First, Frank or Roy asks him to sit on a specific side, or have him sit on a specific side at the airport bar, and when they get there, he's on the other side that he asked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like he's purposely playing dumb to set him off.
Yeah. And one thing that's really interesting about that airport scene is that was one of the scenes I rewatched, and you see these shifty eyes from Sam Rockwell, like focusing on their target. Like he's really nervous, and you kind of get the vibe he's low time until now, and this isn't something he's accustomed to. So it's like he's hinging and he's nervous on him making the move, but what he's really nervous is if Nicolas Cage's character is going to bite on the move.
Yeah.
It's really interesting when you go back and rewatch it, knowing what you do.
There's this scene at the beginning when they're in the first con where it's when she lets the dog out and opens the door and the sunlight comes in and it's just like glowing behind Frank's character.
Yeah.
And his eyes are shifting around. Like I think that was a pretty big foreshadowing moment too, but you think nothing of it at the time.
Yeah. I think I totally glossed over that too, because at that point I still didn't really understand what was the issue with Nicolas Cage's character. So then maybe I thought it was like a light sensitivity thing. Maybe it was like the door being open. Like you really don't. I didn't know, at least at that point. And I think they're just giving you little things and they're telling you about him instead of just explicitly saying this guy's got a lot of phobias and obsessive compulsive tendencies.
Yeah.
So there's still a little mystery, and it's a smart way to develop the character until we finally see a psychiatrist, and then all those things make sense. I think that's really good. I think they do a very good job with anxiety attack too, where he just zooms in on these two little threads of carpet out of place.
Yeah.
For as much as the Nick Cage freakout has been accustomed, I think this was a good job, a good use of it right here.
Yeah, for sure.
Another thing when you rewatch some of these scenes that you're distracted from, I think, at the beginning because of all the things we just talked about, is his daughter seems way too good at this stuff.
Yeah.
That when you're rewatching it,
too much of a natural.
Yeah, she's too much of a natural.
Which is definitely a thing that like where you would think he would have like picked up on, but like, you're saying like he's distracted with like, oh, I have a daughter, I'm trying to figure all this out, and he's not like really paying attention to like how good she is, like she is, because in reality she's conning him.
Yeah, and he
But,
wants
like,
to look
he's
at
not
his
able to pick her up.
daughter like she's a natural. He
Yeah.
wants to be proud of his kid in, a maybe nefarious way. And one thing I really picked up too, and I don't know if I think it was probably intentional, is her interactions with adults other than his character are very mature. She's very in control.
Yeah.
I forgot who she was talking to, but there's a part where like she snaps at someone for Nicolas Cage's character.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very I can't remember who it was that she yelled at, but it was a very assertive move,
Mm-hmm.
which wasn't becoming of someone who would be as young as she was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they went out to a restaurant to eat or something.
What, to the Mexican place?
Yeah. I think it was like a server or something. Oh no! Now I remember. It was when he was teaching her the con in the convenience store and was giving her shit about like the numbers, and she's just like, he's like, you're a convenience store clerk. Take his dollar and let him do what she wants.
Right.
Yeah, that's something that I didn't. It just completely glossed from me the first time. But you watch it, it's a nice little clue. I'm sure if I just watch some start again, I pick up so many little clues that really tug at the ending of it. Which I'm sure that's peppered in there. I don't think you make a movie this careful in this structure and don't find a way to leave those things in there, especially from someone like Ridley Scott.
Absolutely. But the movie ends like on a good note though, and I really like that too, because like he's been talking to like, well, not really talking to, but he kind of like, it kind of hints that he likes like the girl at the supermarket too, and then he's working at the carpet place, which I think is hilarious and ironic. He's a carpet salesman at the end of this movie. Then he ends up seeing Angela there with her new boyfriend because they're buying a carpet, and because that's real shit. Women will go out of their way to buy a new carpet. That's just fact. I've been to Target multiple times buying carpets. And like just the interaction where he's not like really pissed at her either. He's just kind of like, he's more just like, whatever. It's in the past. Like,
I think it's also with like a year being the difference. Like,
yeah.
I think at that point he's come to terms with what happened.
Yeah,
and I think it's a little bit of him like really like he's out at that point. Like he doesn't he doesn't even have the money at this point to be like,
you can't come back from that.
No.
Yeah, well, it's no money like where like I'm still holding on. It's like it's at this point. All of your con life is behind you. All the money's gone.
Yep.
And like this is what being a career con man ended up leading to.
Yeah. I was still at this part, like I was fuming at this. I wanted Nick Cage to get blood. I wanted him to get his sweet vengeance. Like I wanted to see Sam Rockwell burn.
Well, that's safe for Matchstick Men 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Too. So this was actually adapted from a book, and the book I believe ended right at the part where he finds he's been totally robbed. Like that, the whole 1 year later thing isn't part of the book, and they actually wanted to. Originally in the screenplay, they cut the part where he sees that he has no money left.
Yeah.
But then they decided they needed it and added that part of 1 year later to make you feel a little bit better.
A little bit of closure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still good. Whatever. I wasn't happy with either ending, so.
I think I strongly would have preferred the book ending.
I mean, like what they showed you after is fine, but I personally don't think. I think it doesn't. The only thing it really added was like he's like Nick Cage is kind of well adjusted.
Yeah.
To me, that's really the only thing it really comes across as, because I think the whole thing with his daughter in quotation marks is kind of like it's like I'm like, oh yeah, they had a little interaction, whatever. Like they don't have bad blood, but it's like
Yeah, but when she calls her daddy,
that was weird.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah.
Yeah, if they would have gone the book ending, I think that would have like felt really tonally off from the movie. But I think that's such a much more powerful artistic statement than what they ended up going with.
Like the movie would just leave you feeling.
Well, it's like if he woke up, he's
destitute.
Yeah, we woke up, he saw he's got con, and he's destitute. Like I think that would have made like such more of a hard impact. But that seems very off-putting for a movie like this, and I think it would be really jarring to frame the end of the movie with that after if it's too tonally light to do that. But I wasn't crazy about this ending.
I liked it.
Yeah, whole 1 year later part didn't do much for me.
Yeah, like I have the issue where it's like I do like that like they show her as an adult and like you really see like you got fucking worked, my guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I don't buy her being with that guy.
Yeah.
That's where you draw the line.
I just did not buy that. Like,
Well, it's also the way they're dressed. Like she's like in this very nice dress, so that he literally looks like he like rolled
It's
out of bed.
that's the stoner from Cabin in the Woods.
Oh my god.
Oh no shit.
He looks like his boy does tats.
Yeah, like I think a part of me though believes that she was actually working a con on him. Like, you can't just trust her because like it's over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The whole time, yeah.
Yeah, and like that's one thing about it. When we leave that interaction, it's honestly a little sad for me because Nick Cage has obviously made peace with it, but like he's so beaten down from these people who took everything from him and like really like daggered him emotionally that he's just gonna like sit there and take it from them and respect the idea that now that they're being honorable, and I just don't fucking buy that.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of alludes throughout the movie that he wants to be done with it, though.
I know, but like I don't like think he would meet the woman who conned him like that and then just believe she's pure now and like, oh, she really got screwed over by this guy.
Yeah, I
And
know.
she's
Yeah, I
just
guess.
like living this like meddling life now, especially when it really showed you the talent she had for conning. I just like that seems a little bit of a stretch for me. And he's just holding on to the idea of this kid he had, which is a little sad to me.
That's true, but you can also look at it this way. You see the whole movie that he's struggling with obsessive compulsive disorder. He's a very obsessive guy, and by that point in the movie, you see that he's moved on. He seems a lot calmer.
Yeah, for sure. And they give you that little wraparound too.
Right,
That's
and-
what the ending does far more for me.
And so I don't know that he truly believes that she's pure, but he needs to accept that so he doesn't obsess over it anymore because he's moved on with his life and he can't dwell in the past.
Yeah, I think that's probably a better take than I have. I think at that point too, I'm just like so mad at this like Sam Rockwell guy and seeing him get got like that. Yeah, I wanted to see him like get her. Like when he said like, "Oh, I already know your name," I thought like something was gonna happen to like prove like he's like getting the last laugh, and then it just didn't.
Like the car blows up because there's a bomb in the carpet.
I don't know. Just he was gonna take. I don't know what he was gonna do, but I just like I wanted something to happen there. That is a better.
I would have
bookend,
rather.
though. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I would have rather seen him get Frank because Frank got her too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a real mastermind. So
Yeah.
she was just an accomplice who did a really
Frank's-
good job.
Frank's like probably the easiest, like easily the most unlikable character in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess like, and then in a way, they're really showing you the prize of it all was that now he has his cure for loneliness. He found his peace. He's got his
baby.
He's got a baby on the way.
Yeah. Now he doesn't have to
So-
fake it.
Yeah, so maybe he's okay with this life now. It obviously seems like he's well adjusted, which that is like a nice bookend to it.
Now he's just a legal con man being a salesman.
That's pretty
Yeah.
accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the old Slippin' Jimmy.
Ryan, you're learning so much being at T-Mobile. I'm proud of you.
The old flim flam.
You guys want to get into ratings now?
Oh yeah.
Who wants to kick it off?
Baba Booey.
All right, kick it off, my boy.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, that guy. Okay. I really like this movie. I like the whole dynamic between the dad-daughter stuff. Any movie that has dad-daughter dynamic in it, obviously I'll like it. The con aspect of it was very nice too. It was just a very well-written movie. I liked it. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
All right. 7 out of 10.
Obviously, very enjoyed the movie. For the like pretty good like pacing, good shot structure. Besides for the last little bit of the ending, I thoroughly enjoyed the ending. With all that being said, I will give it a 7.1.
Wow.
So, I really like the structure of this. I appreciate the film work of it. I like the way that I felt the whole goal of this movie was to con us by putting it right in front of our eyes and really giving us a swerve to make the movie was thinking about something that it wasn't. I really do appreciate that. There's a couple, little nitpicks, missteps that I picked out there. A couple of things I think they could have done better, but all in all, I really did enjoy this one. I'm going to come in at an 8 out of 10.
Oh.
Ooh.
Wow.
And for you, Tom, what did you think of this?
I would give this movie a 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I do love the con man movies. The things I think held it back, it was cheesy, but sometimes it was a little too cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
That's really it. The story, it is what it is. Like, it's a character piece.
Yeah.
But they really set everything up nicely. It seems like everything that they showed you played a part in the movie.
Yep.
But yeah, I also that ending kind of unnecessary for me.
Yeah.
Also, I'm gonna fill the fridge with the cans of tuna, so be on the lookout for that.
That would have been a better ending if he was just sitting outside the house eating some tuna.
Yeah.
While it's raining.
I think of the last two movies you watched, there might have actually been some more stronger structural points. But I'm looking at the complete filmmaking of this too.
Yeah.
Where I think it's very, very technically sound. It's very well shot. The structure, like I said, I keep going back to that. It's really what stuck out to me. And I think I really I want to give that a lot of merit. Where that I think that's outstanding. Where I feel should be or it's higher for me because of those things.
No, that makes sense.
I agree.
What did
And
I
it
gonna
was-
say?
There wasn't any boobies in it, so it couldn't have been an 8 or a 9 for me.
It's PG-13.
I don't care. Show
That's
some.
a very rare occurrence.
I want some Nicolas Cage teats.
Speaking of PG-13 boobs, you want to hear about the first time I ever saw boobs in a movie?
Oh god.
Okay.
This is actually pretty funny. So, Ron, you were actually there, but you were probably 3 years old.
I saw boobs when I was 3.
So,
Hell yeah.
I believe it was 1998. It was not or one of those 97. There was a little film called Titanic that was some pretty hot shit. And we were away on vacation, and in the hotel rooms, you can rent movies that are a little bit it was in that in between period where it's not in theaters anymore, but it wasn't on video yet.
Yeah.
So my parents oh, Titanic, and it's PG-13. Our children are here. We can watch this.
It's PG.
And then all of a sudden, boom, full frontal PG-13.
Oh, that's not even that bad. My first experience was actually Road Trip, the unrated version, where it's just a full shower scene with 7 to 8 girls.
Trip.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever saw boobs in a movie.
Yeah, but it was
2005?
No, that was Euro Trip. Road Trip came out in 99 or 2000.
Oh.
Either way, did your mom pick out the movie and was there with you for it?
No, my mom bought the
you
movie,
actually-
but I watched it.
You actually, I'm pretty sure, showed me the first pair of tits I ever saw.
Leprechaun 2?
Leprechaun 4.
Leprechaun 4?
I was gonna say, what was it? His
Leprechaun
tits?
4 in space with the
It's the worst.
with the sparkly alien titties.
Yeah, she's here's are my tits. That's literally the scene in the movie. They're this is a shitty fourth sequel of a movie that wasn't good in the first place. We gotta show some tits. And it's literally a scene where she's making a speech to a bunch of astronauts these are my breasts.
Yeah.
This is quite possibly one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Tom, what's your first boob experience movies?
I still haven't seen one yet.
Damn.
Kidding. I don't remember my first, but the funniest is I remember having a movie night with my dad and my sister, and I got to pick the movie. And I said, "Hey, Weatherman, the Nicolas Cage movie. I want to see it."
Ah, okay, full
We
circle.
watched Weatherman together, and it got to that scene where he's fucking the Swedish chick, and her titties are bouncing around. My dad's "I thought you said this was a comedy."
I'm yeah, I'm laughing.
This sounds pretty funny to me.
Teats.
All right.
That's funny. So, what do we got?
A 29.1.
29.1.
No one else gave points, right? You get 7, 7, 8.
Yeah.
So we're pretty in line with IMDb, 7.3 and IMDb 61 meta.
Yeah.
Little ahead of critics, right in line with audiences.
Broke even at the box office.
Oof, how much what was the budget on this?
It's 75 million.
Jesus Christ, what did it go to?
Cage in his houses.
They could have just asked to borrow one.
This
I think
one,
he was shot in his house.
yeah,
Was it?
I don't know.
I mean, he probably has quite a few to choose from.
Yeah, all the houses.
He bought it and then filmed it in there, and he's like, "Oh, the movie Matchstick Men was shot here."
Yeah, 62 million, 13 million at the box office.
No,
That's opening weekend.
They didn't make
Yeah.
money back because they only made 65 million total.
No, not yet. But
So they probably lost like 5 million, 6 million on it, if not more.
Good movie. I liked it. I'll watch it again.
All right.
Yeah.
So, John, what are we watching this week?
Oh, what are we watching next week? That is a great question. Being the wild card of the group, I picked us a fantastic film. It's going to be Hulk 2003 with Ang Lee. I'm just kidding. No, we're I had to troll a little bit.
we talked about this.
We discussed this. No, we're gonna watch. We're gonna slow it down a little bit. Okay, we're actually gonna watch The Last Kiss starring Zach Braff. It's a romantic dramedy type movie. It's actually directed by Tony Goldwyn. He's actually a director actor type of dude. He hasn't directed too many things, like mostly a bunch of TV shows and shit. And let me just read this quick brief synopsis. Michael has a great job still. Still has 4 best friends. He's in love with a beautiful girl at 30. He loves Jenna, but his life seems predictable until he meets a college girl. It seems like everyone's having relationship problems. It's a very good movie. I can't wait to actually talk about it. And we'll go. It stars. Actually, it's a pretty stacked lineup. You got Zach Braff. You got Casey Affleck.
Better acting Affleck.
Yeah.
Mumbler.
Yeah.
What a plot twist that was.
I know, right? You got Rachel Bilson, Eric Christian Olsen, Harold Ramis is in it too. That's another reason why I love this movie, because he's one of my favorites. Blythe Danner and Tom Wilkinson.
The guy that wrote this movie was the guy that directed that movie Crash that everybody hates for winning Best Picture.
Isn't that the one with what's her name?
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, good movie. I can't wait to watch it again. Actually, I'm pretty excited about this. I was gonna pick something different because it's spooky month, but I felt like this was a good. This is a good pick. You know, we've had our different styles of movies, so this is gonna be a good one.
We've had our thrillers.
Yeah,
a little bit of comedy, I guess. Let's
bit.
go a little dramedy. Let's go with a rom-com.
It's this one. That's the thing. This movie's not so much as a rom-com. It's more of a drama than anything. This movie's actually it has some pretty serious like plot and stuff in it. I've liked this movie for a while. I saw this probably when I was like 17, and it's been one of my favorite romance movies since then.
I've never seen this movie or actually heard of it. So.
Not a lot of people have. That's why I thought it was a good pick. You know, I really like it. I'm excited to see what everyone else thinks, and it's a good movie to watch with the lady friend too. So,
Lit.
if I had one.
Sorry.
Not okay.
Bird.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what everyone thinks about this next week.
All right.
I'm probably gonna watch it twice.
Oh baby. Oh, you just want to see? Oh, you just like this Harold Ramis, isn't it?
I do love Harold. I'll watch any movie with Harold Ramis in it.
Harry Ramis.
That's my favorite part of Knocked Up is that he's Seth Rogen's dad in that movie.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite part of Knocked Up. It's like when Harold Ramis comes on, he's like, "I'm gonna be a granddad," and I'm like, "Yeah, you are, dude." R.I.P. Harold Ramis. We miss you very much. Best Ghostbuster.
Ooh.
All right.
All right. So that's gonna about do it for our show tonight. We are There Will Be Jen's Movie Podcast. You can find us currently on YouTube. Hopefully, by the time the next episode comes out, you will be able to also find us somewhere where podcasts are available. I am feverishly working on that right now and hoping to have that done by the time this episode airs. So until next time. Boom.
Goodbye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Baba Booey.